Hi, my name is Vito LaBella. I'm here in front of the Angel Guradian Home on 12th Avenue between 63rd and 64th Streets. I'm running for City Council in the 43rd District, and like my SAD campaign last year, what I love most about campaigning is I get to meet people from all over the city, from all different backgrounds, and I get to learn a lot. I get to learn a lot about the city. I get to learn a lot about what's going on, and that's really very important to me. And yesterday I met a wonderful woman, Kelly Carroll, who is now the executive director at the Atlantic Avenue Bid, but whose real passion is historic preservation. And she told me that sites, landmark sites like the Angel Guradian Home that's behind me, this beautiful building, that oftentimes the owners of these buildings will let them fall into disrepair, not do any work on them at all. And then when they become so broken that they can't be repaired for a reasonable cost, that's probably their term, and they apply for a hardship. And that hardship would allow them to tear down this beautiful building and buildings like it all over the city and put up whatever they want. And that's really, a lot of times, that's their intention in the first place when they buy a property like this. They go through the motions, they pretend they want to landmark it and honor that landmark and really be a good steward of the landmark building. But really, their intention is nefarious. Their intention is to let it fall apart so they can knock it down and put up whatever structure they want to that's most profitable for them. So unfortunately, Kelly told me that this may or may not be the case at the Angel Guradian Home, but since it's landmarked, it has been allowed to fall into disrepair. So we're going to take a look around this building, and we're going to take a look at some of the things that have been allowed to fall into disrepair, some of the items that have been removed, some of the things they've done that is just total disregard for maintaining the integrity of this structure. And we're going to document that to present to whoever will listen. Hopefully the mayor's listening, the city council's listening, and we need to have legislation to prevent this from happening to this building and to other buildings throughout this city. First off, I'd like you to take a look at those three turrets on the top of that building. Those chimney-like things, they used to have a cross on top of each of them, and those crosses were removed. And that's really not appropriate. I mean, those crosses were part of this building, and they should never have been removed. We're going to go around this building, and we're going to see what else has been removed and has been really allowed to fall into disrepair. So we're on the side of the building here, and we're looking at some really egregious violations of the landmark bill. Those beautiful copper gutters have been allowed to separate and come off of the building. And behind it, what that is allowed is for water to get into the brick, and the freeze-thaw cycle is expanding and contracting the brick, allowing the brick to separate and start to spall, which is when the brick kind of falls apart. Those gutters should be maintained so that it goes into the sewer line there. The owners of the property have allowed graffiti to remain on the beautiful masonry. They've allowed the wrought iron to remain and rust out. I mean, we're going on here and we're looking at just all of the horrible lack of care that we're witnessing here. And again, those gutters up there have been allowed to separate. They're not putting them together. They're not putting them back into the gutter, into the sewer line where the water can be sent away from the building into a proper fashion. And again, it's causing the bricks to fall apart. The windows are left open so that water is getting in there, causing damage. And it's just a shame. It's a total lack of care. And what we're really worried about is that once this building starts to get totally dilapidated, then they'll apply for a hardship designation so they can tear the whole thing down and put up what they want to make the most money. So this is something that we cannot allow to happen. So what can we do? What could City Council member Vito LaBella from the 43rd District do a year from now? Well, we could draft and pass a local law that requires owners of these landmark properties to exercise care and maintain them as appropriate to bring them back up to what they originally were as per the landmark designation. And if they fail to do so, issue a warning and a notice of violation. And if that fails, then the city can contract with builders and contractors to bring it back to its original beautiful landmarked condition. And of course, once that happens, that bill can be sent to the owner. And if he can't pay it, well, then the building can be confiscated, sold, and the builder, and then the contractor who did the renovation, the restoration, well, that person can be paid from the proceeds. The mortgage holders can be paid from the proceeds. And because we do care about individual property rights, whatever's left over, if anything, be sent back to the landowner, to the owner of the landmark property. We need to have teeth in these regulations. And if we can't do it at the local level, we can't do it here in the city council, then you know what we need to do? We need to partner with our friends up in Albany, our legislators, our state senate leaders, our assembly leaders, and the governor to pass a home rule message in the city council, and more importantly, to get a similar law passed on the state level that will force owners of these landmark properties to take into consideration the commitment they made when they purchased these properties to keep it in the beautiful, restored manner that they should have from the beginning. And now, we're going to take a ride. We're going to take a ride down to 3rd Street and 3rd Avenue in Brooklyn, and we're going to see what proper stewardship of a landmark property looks like. I'm Vito LaBella, and I'm running for City Council in the 43rd Council District. This is an example of a building that's been landmarked, and the corporate owners took their stewardship of the building seriously. They restored it, they've kept it up, and now, in fact, it's for sale, I think, for $2.7 million if you're interested. It's the old cement building on 3rd Street and 3rd Avenue. But certainly, this kind of stewardship is possible, and it should be the gold standard of what we expect of all of our landmark buildings. At your city council meeting, we could pass local laws, require owners of landmark buildings to keep their landmark properties up to these kind of standards. We can't do it under the local law. We can do a home rule message and ask our partners up in Albany to pick up the ball and carry it over to the I'm Vito LaBella, running for 43rd District City Council. Thank you.